Alright, wanted to walk you through setting up the injectors in the Motec, scaling from OEM to the ID 1050X injectors. So what I have here is I just pasted some images. Again, I don't really know what values I need to use, so I reached out to some people, and of course the unit has my OEM injector set up right here. And I reached out to a friend in New York his screen name is Mberry Racing. He runs ID 1000s, so the previous generation to my new ID 1050X. But he sent me his program, and I was able to kind of compare. And then I also had gotten a hold of Martin about 2 years ago, and over at Precision Sports in Canada, and he also gave me some feedback. So it's been a couple of years since I talked to him, but between the two here, I'm going to try to get this set up. So the Motec fuel system, the way it works is it does not care about your injector size. It's just trying to have enough fuel to meet your aim target ratios. So the process is it uses sort of percentages, and then it has an overall scaling factor and an overall trim. So the fuel map itself, the numbers that are in there are delayed percentages in milliseconds. It's hard to wrap your head around it, but essentially when you're looking at lambda, which is your air-fuel ratio, you can adjust the percentages in milliseconds to get it to do what you want. So it's just a different way of looking at it. The nice thing is that to compensate for injectors, I think it's only going to be a couple values. So what I have up here is I have a screenshot. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit on showing the injector scaling IJPU value. This is for my OEM injectors, and that's set up at 5. And if you go down here to the ID one from Mberry, his is at 2. So I'm going to change mine to 2 in the Motec unit. So I'm going to open up my Motec software. Open this. I've got my file saved here that I've been working in, and you go to Adjust, General Setup, Fuel, Setup, and you can see there I have there I have 5, and I'm going to change this to 2. Enter, and then this is do you want to interpolate or not? And if you see the answer no, it says if IJPU is changed to allow changes in injector flow rate for initial setup, that's what I want. I want to leave my map the same because the map is based on a turbo sled. So I'm going to hit no, and voila. Now I go back to my Word document here, and I match Mberry's setup table. That's it. So what that's done is that's scaled the pulse width for the whole table, and based on the new injectors being able to deliver that much more flow, you move the value down. So the other thing that was pretty intriguing that I really don't understand, and I'm going to play with a little bit, is this battery compensation table. And if you look here, you've got voltage along the top, and then you've got millisecond or microsecond, US, I don't know what U is, microsecond delays down here, and based on the different voltages. So here's the stock one, and look at the difference. Here's the 1000. I mean, at 15 volts, you go from 700 to 1120 second delay. 14 volts, 700 to 1200. So to me, what I'm saying, what it looks like is I'm delaying the opening or the pulse width of that injector because there's so much more fuel flows out of it. So that's why those numbers are higher. So I'm going to enter those values in my Motec software. Over here, you go Adjust, Fuel, General, Fuel, Battery Comp. And then there's my battery comp. You can see I have it set at stock. Go back to here. He has 2500, 1820. So 2500, 1820. make sure I got the voltages and the axis match there. Yep. And then 1560 and 1320. So then 1560, 1320. And then at 13 volts, he had 1200, 1120. 1200, 1120. And I got 15 and 16, so I'm gonna have to check my axes and see. I just got an extra 15. He goes from 14 to 16. So 16's at 820. 820. And then I'll probably just go 850 or something like that. Just kind of 860. Just kind of scale in the middle there. So that's scaling for the Motec injectors. I'm going to hit save on this. And now there's one little thing. If I go back to my notes that Martin had sent me, he said right here, let me zoom this in if I can. So these are just a notes tab. I highly recommend doing this if you're watch a webinar from Motec and then you write down what you want to have your setup set as. But right here it says, from Martin, we do have a good setup. Calibration is very similar to the old 1000s with about a 12% trim and updated dead time. So the dead time is the battery comp table. That's what dead time means. It took a while for me to figure that out through the webinars, but that's what that means. So now I want to apply this 12% trim. And if you come up here, you go back to adjust, fuel, overall trim. And look at that, it's just at 0. And all you really need to do is this is a percentage that applies to the whole table. So if I hit -12, boom, I'm scaled for Motec injectors.